My name's Emily. I'm a federal fisheries observer for NOAA. It's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and I work off of the west coast of North America. I've been doing so for the last 4 years. I actually just got back from a trip yesterday, and I would have filmed this interview at sea, but there are like too many variables. So here we are instead, and I think it's great that you guys are reaching out to people in different marine sciences to get an understanding of their careers because if I had had something similar when I was 18, I think I would have had a bigger perspective of the options available to me. So I began, like a lot of you, um, probably, in my interest in marine biology, in that I was really fascinated by nature, and I spent a lot of time outside. And my father is a sport fisherman who would take me out on fishing trips quite a bit at a young age. And I was exposed to a lot that other people, other kids, didn't really get to experience. And that shaped a lot of my interests. Uh, Now, I went to university at UC San Diego, and I majored in ecology, behavior, and evolution with a minor in marine science. And I chose that university because of, Scripps being this amazing research institution affiliated with UCSD and just down the street. And as a college student, I was really fascinated with community ecology, which is the study of the relationships between all the different elements, living and non-living, in an ecosystem. And I was also really interested in doing field work. And I'm sure a lot of you have similar interests and desires and wanting to do things hands-on and be like Jacques Cousteau and various other like iconic oceanographers and marine biologists of the 21st century and even earlier. But biology's changed quite a bit, and I did field work in Ecuador and Costa Rica while I was in university, but struggled to find a job that would allow me to continue working in the field after graduating with a bachelor's degree. And rather than go into grad school, I decided to go up to Alaska and get a job in the fishing industry. And I wanted to get a behind the scenes look at what fishing communities were like and what the the state of the harvest was like. And after 6 months up there, selling artwork, I was dabbling in art at the time and seeing a lot of fish guts and eating a lot of fish and salmon eggs. I came back down to California with all this information in me and new ideas and inspiration, and decided to work as a fisheries observer for the federal government. And I trained. You can see me in my survival suit because there's a lot of survival training that goes into becoming a fisheries observer. And went out on trips where my responsibilities were to watch fishing activity, record data on positions, fish being caught, and to bring back samples of species of interest that were being studied by the lab. Actually, here in San Diego, there's a lab with NOAA. So I, would open up various animals that were brought on board by the fishermen and bring them back. And I would also keep an eye out for protected species. Protected species encounters are an important part of a fisheries observer's job. So that would be marine mammals, birds, and sea turtles, right? And right now I work as almost primarily as a buoy gear fisheries observer, and that's swordfish that I work with. And I also do some work on tuna longliners, and these are all American boats. And I saw a lot of really bad weather as you can see in my videos. I saw a lot of amazing sea creatures, just totally phenomenal, and had have had, the adventures of a lifetime in that role. And I really recommend it for anybody right out of university, because you need a bachelor's degree to work this job. And it's great if you want to pursue field work. It's one of the few positions that will allow you to do so, and not require you to have 6 to 8 years of school. So right now, not only am I a fisheries observer in my primary responsibilities, but I'm also like a consultant contractor in different projects in fisheries economics, also fisheries outreach and communication. I do a lot of science communication with a pretty prominent artist named Dwight. You can see he and I posing with a print that we've made together. And I have taken advantage of my position as a fisheries observer to make sure that a lot of the amazing and super alien creatures that I encounter out at sea get recorded in an artistic form, to bring greater awareness to what it is that fishermen do, U.S. fishermen do out at sea, and what it is that fisheries observers do, and what it is that the government does in monitoring and regulating the sustainable harvest of these species. And let's see here, some of those pieces are hanging in museums now. And I'm also doing quite a bit of work on market research for different species of fish, to try to improve, sustainable consumption of seafood, seafood is the last remnant of early human livelihood. It's the last food resource that we still extract from its natural environment, which makes it really interesting, important, and some sort of heartbreaking sometimes to study. So the development of short-term and long-term goals for myself has been really important. Every year, I set a goal that I aim to achieve by the end of that year, and they can be pretty broad. They don't have to be concrete, but some of the ones that I've had in the past have been, to get really good at a particular coding language, to teach myself a particular language that might be useful to me in my line of work, and to like the more abstract existential topics, to focus on like areas of weakness in myself that could help me professionally to work on, like taking criticism better, asking for help more. So every year I've got goals like that. Some of the short-term goals I have for myself right now are to study up on my own on economics and policy. I'll probably end up going to a graduate program for focusing on those areas, because my work is very interdisciplinary, and you guys will find that there'll be a lot of opportunities for interdisciplinary work in the future, because marine science encompasses so much, and has so many related partners, stakeholders, in all different sort of government bodies, and industry, and in the public eye. And one of the best ways, I think, to go about setting goals for yourself are to make a list of your likes and dislikes, and then examine really closely, why you like a certain thing and why you dislike a certain thing. Do you dislike it because you're not very good at it? If you're not very good at it, can you get better at it? Is it going to help you to get better at it? things that you like. How can you turn that into, how can you incorporate that into your career, and make it work for you, right? As more than just a hobby, which is what I've done with art. And uh, Another really good piece of advice that I wish that I had when I was in college, or at least I wish that I'd pay attention to, was don't box yourself in. If you don't, what you don't realize, or maybe you do, is that there's a lot that you don't know about the world yet. And, that was my primary motive to go to Alaska, right? I knew that I didn't know what was up with commercial fishing, but I knew that I wanted to know, and to find out, I had to dive in. And if you box yourself in and tell yourself that there's only, one way to get to what you want, then you'll basically blinker yourself to the bigger picture, and you'll miss out on a lot of different opportunities, and a lot of different new ideas. Um, and I would hate for that to be the case. Another piece of advice that has really worked for me is to rely on other people, to network, not in an effort to, exploit others for the ways that in which they can help you, but to make genuine human connections with people, and find ways to help them, and they'll want to also help you, and that can be really valuable, for your job seeking, the job market, marine bio, and marine science. Depending on what you do, it can be a little tough, right? But if you have good, honest, hardworking relationships, and you demonstrate really good personal values, people will help you. You will rise to the top. Train yourself in leadership skills, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of times people that you struggle to work with, and moments where you need to stand up for yourself to get what you need or get what you want, and knowing how to do that in a diplomatic way, in an articulate way, is super important. Follow through with your emails and all lines of communication really promptly. If someone gets back to you, get back to them right away. Show up early, don't be late, and ask a lot of questions. It's so much better to look, stupid to your peers for asking questions, and to annoy them for, taking up class time or whatever it is. Annoy professors, take up their time, because yeah, it's so much better than looking like a fool, is so much better than actually being a fool. And you should try to get answers, to all the things that you're trying to understand, and trust yourself enough to take risks, smart risks, and be independent. People are going to tell you, a lot of authority figures in your lives are probably going to tell you, that they know what's best for you, but they really don't. They have a lot of experience in their own way, but everyone's path is so very different that, take everything with a grain of salt, and assess whether your judgment is sound, and if it is, trust it. I really think you guys should all cultivate rewarding hobbies, especially if you're planning on going to graduate school, because, as you've probably heard, graduate school is like really, really long haul, and you don't see a lot of gain, or personal fulfillment until the very end, right? So to help you deal with like the mental agony of a prolonged academic life, it's good to have, external things that give you satisfaction along the way. And a lot of times these hobbies, I see it all the time with my peers, marine scientists and marine biologists that I know, PhD students. They have got these incredible, incredible hobbies that they've been working on since they're young. And then they incorporate them into their work, whether it's in outreach, in communication, in the presentation of their papers, things like video editing, graphic design, even the singing and dancing, even puppet shows. You can be as creative as you want to be. You can be as strategic as you want to be, and really be honest with yourself about what you enjoy. People might tell you that you're wasting your time with certain hobbies, but you can always find a way to make them work for your primary career if you're creative. And I guess finally, um, set your own pace and learn to forgive yourself if things don't kind of pan out the way that you planned. Um, I in all of my goal setting, I make a plan and then I make secondary plans because I know that things could change, and um, learn to take criticism happily, but don't beat yourself up with criticism towards yourself. Um, it's a gift when other people offer you criticism because they're a lot more objective than you, and you can learn a lot from what they say. Now, you aren't the most objective judge of yourself, so you might be harder on yourself than you need to be. So forgiveness, and it's a balancing act between forgiveness, um, the drive to improve and develop, and listening to others that will, I think, get you guys to in a place in your life where you feel like you're doing everything that you love for work, and that it isn't just a job to you. Thanks for listening.